Let me just start out this video by saying what I did today is one of my favorite things to do on a build, and that is refinishing old crusty parts and adding my own little style to it. Here's what we're working on. Pipe and silencer for the RM250. I'll give you a little preview. It's all finished up. If you want to see how all this came together, just keep watching. So with this pipe, I'm actually going to strip it all the way down, get all the nickel plating off of it. But if you wanted to preserve the nickel plating on your pipe, you can actually polish out all this bluing. And while you're at it, you could just get rid of some of the rust too. I'm gonna throw some wheels on the bench grinder and see if I can clean this up. That was just stage one. It's a number 2 wheel with a green compound. You can see it came out pretty good, but it's not like that full mirror look. And I'm gonna take it to step 2 with a little finer wheel and different compound here. This is a number 3. You can see it's a little bit more loose. It doesn't look too shabby. I'm gonna give it a little wipe down and see if it looks a little bit more shiny. Still got some compound on there. It's not too bad at all. Overall, that looks like 98% back to like a original nickel finish. So like I mentioned earlier, you want to strip the nickel plating completely off if you are going to heat treat the welds. As you can see right here, that's the difference between raw steel and the nickel. Basically just stripped it alongside the weld. You don't have to strip all the plating off. You can leave it in areas because once you brush it over, all this will actually be hidden. Now the media we were using to blast this is 100 grit aluminum oxide, and it stripped it decent, but honestly you could go a little rougher, maybe like 60 grit aluminum oxide, and that would cut it a lot faster. Or you can just use the prime rough wheels, and that will go through this material as well. So we hit the pipe with the rough pad. I'm going to switch over to a less abrasive wheel, the finer wheel, and give it like a little bit more shine here. You can see it's still pretty scuffed up in some areas, and that fine wheel will bring out a good shine. The pipe's all done with the fine wheel. Looks pretty sharp, but there's a few areas that might be a little inconsistent. So what we do with that is just take the wheel off the bench grinder and you just hand buff in the same direction that you were buffing with on the bench grinder, and you get a nice consistent look. Now for the most satisfying part, adding some color to this baby. So we've got the full Nbhd lineup. We've got a big torch, medium-sized torch, and a micro torch. I'm going to start with the small one. I want as little of a band of color on these welds as possible. Start with that and see where we end up. But if you are doing this, you want to have the pipe in a vise, so that way it is nice and stable and you can get as consistent of a color band as possible. I'm about halfway done with the pipe, so I've had some good practice on the technique. It's definitely very technique sensitive. So what I've noticed is the flatter the weld, the easier it is to do. If you have a weld that has a big ridge like this, definitely tricky to get a consistent band on both sides. This micro torch does take some time to get it up to temperature, but I've found that the band looks so much better. It's a little thinner than with the big torch. You don't want to hold the torch in one area too long, or else you have a kind of a fat blob. And then as soon as you start to get a little bit of color out of it, just you gotta be really careful not to extend it out too far. And then the direction that you have the torch pointed in makes a big difference. Then you can just kind of touch it up and then move on to the next inch or inch and a half or so. Get some nice color out of this one. Touch it up a little bit more right here. Get that looking a little more consistent. So it does take a while to do a full pipe. 125 pipe wouldn't be bad, but a 250 pipe is obviously bigger. So I've been working on this for, I don't know, probably about an hour. A lot of it was kind of redoing stuff because I screwed it up. Anyways, that's basically the technique. Every pipe's different, every weld is different probably due to the thickness. And at any point, if you screw up to the level that you want to redo it, you can always take it over to the bench grinder and buff out the color, bring it back to the original raw color, and just redo it. I actually had to redo this one twice in certain areas because I wasn't very happy with it. So I had a little change of plans. I got so tired of how slow the small torch is, switched back to the big torch, and I was able to get some pretty consistent bands and even like thinner bands, but you just gotta be super, super careful. So I'll kind of show you what I was doing right here on this weld. Gotta move fast with it. As soon as you see some color, gotta back off. Touch it up a little bit. You just gotta play with it and kind of develop a technique of your own. I have not obviously figured it out perfectly yet, but we're getting there. At this point, the pipe is completely done. Gotta say I'm pretty satisfied with it. There's things I could have done better, but you know, it's just part of the game. You always learn each time you do it. Pipe is probably 90% perfect. Still got a few little scrapes from those dents that were there previously. This side over here has got some still remaining dents there. It ain't perfect, but considering what this pipe was before, it looks a heck of a lot better. So as you can see, these bands here were the ones I did with the smaller torch. They're a little thinner, the color doesn't come out quite as much. And then this one, color brings or comes out a little bit further. You get the kind of the purple and the yellow coming down. But one mistake I made was I didn't strip the nickel quite far enough out from the welds. I don't know, let me get some better lighting on it here. So you can kind of see right there where the color ended. It's a little bit of a harsh line. That's still a little bit of nickel plating that I didn't completely strip off. And then right there as well. So if you are starting with a nickel plated pipe, you want to completely strip it and just make sure every little bit is out of the welds as well. Right there is another example of some plating still in there. Not a huge deal, but overall, I'm pretty stoked on how this pipe turned out. Now, the very last thing I'm going to do with this pipe is once I have it on the bike and heat it up, I'm actually going to put some Maxima MPPL on it and kind of let it burn into the pipe there, and that'll help protect it from rusting. I actually did that on these two bikes here. No rusting on that one. Still looks pretty good. This bike's actually been sitting from springtime. I haven't even washed it yet. Still got dirt and not rusting yet. So once you burn that MPPL in there, it actually protects the pipe pretty good. Now with the pipe completely done, I'm gonna move on to the silencer. We're gonna get this thing looking equally as sweet. Gotta come up with some ideas for this one. So basically what I'm gonna do with the silencer is pull it completely apart, clean it up, repack it, and maybe do some brushing, some color, some heat treating on it as well. I don't know, we'll get creative with it. Now I'm debating pulling the end cap off to blast all that nickel plating off. Screw it, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna drill these out and see what happens. So the tip came out pretty cool, a little too much purple for my liking, and there's not a ton of color on the side. So what I'm actually gonna do is polish this thing out to a full mirror look and then heat treat it, and that'll bring some more color out. This cap just polished out beautifully. Should produce some really nice colors. Let's throw some heat at it and see what happens. Faded like a purple into a gold, but what I didn't think about was there's a little bit of polishing compound still on the cap here. You can see there's some dots there. So if you're going to do this, make sure you take a contact cleaner and wipe all the compound off before you heat treat it. And of course, my perfectionism got the best of me again. I decided to redo this. Wasn't really happy with those little dots. So I found that if you just hit it with the last polishing wheel and compound again, you can take all of that heat coloring off and bring it back to a polished finish. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna explain how I got this to a polished finish. Basically just use the prime polishing wheel kit for steel, since this is stainless steel. I had to strip the nickel plating off, of course, which is probably the hardest part. I used a bead blaster along with, let's see, it is a 180 grit flap wheel here. And then I started with the first polishing wheel, this one here. It is the roughest one. You use it with a black compound. Then you switch over to the number 2 with a green compound, and then the number 3 wheel with a white compound. And as you can see, each one gets a little less abrasive as you go up, and by the time you hit it with the number 3, you have a chrome finish. This time I'm going to take some contact cleaner and wipe all the compound off of the part so I don't get those dots again. Lately I've been using this Niemela Concepts. It's called 716. It's a lot less nasty than some of the other chemicals out there, and it still works really good. See how she colors up. Well, that turned out pretty sweet. I like the purple that fades into the gold. It ain't 100% perfect, but I'm gonna have to call it done at some point. So let's get this silencer back together. I will be using some Lex silencer packing. Just want to lay it out, coil it around the core here, and this is just like insulation. You don't want to pack it too tight, or else you're just going to ruin the effect of the packing. Just kind of loosely pack it. So we're going to have to trim it off right about here. There we go. That fits pretty nicely in there. Stuff it all the way in. And obviously we're a little long right here. This masking tape basically just holds the packing in while you slide the can on. You want to make sure nothing is blocking the outlet. Now I don't have any of the high heat RTV, so I'm just going to use this gasket maker. I think this is good up to like 300 degrees, which a 2-stroke silencer never gets close to that. Actually, before I get carried away with this, I need to make sure I can get the end cap on. What do you think of that? You want to take a bite? Looks like the cap went on just fine, so I can put that on later. I'm gonna squeeze this together. Might take a couple taps of the soft hammer. And before this stuff dries, you want to wipe off the excess. Now I really should have put the end cap on before I packed it and put the stinger pipe on, but got a little too excited. There we go, rivets are in, just gotta clean this thing up and we are pretty much done. Wow, this setup is gonna look next level on the bike. Whoever takes this baby home is gonna be one lucky son of a gun. And speaking of that, this bike is gonna be up for grabs when it's all finished up. I'm sticking to my word. I said that originally when I started this build. Even though it's taken me so long and I've had many breaks due to the health stuff in between, I am still doing the giveaway. So if you want a shot at this thing, just hit the link down below in the description. It is completely free to sign up. There's no strings attached. It is just my way of giving back to you guys. So a few nights back, I must have been dreaming about 2-strokes because I woke up at like 2 a.m. feeling pretty stoked and the words Eargasm 9000 popped into my head. And I thought that would go perfect on a silencer. So let's head up to the office. I've had Nick working on a silencer sticker. Let's see how it's going. Oh, look at that.
Oh man.
We got some fine tuning to do. Here we go. Got stickers rolling off the printer. This is what we came up with. So these are being printed on a metallic vinyl. It's like almost like a foil, and it resists the heat really good on the silencer. Not too bad at all. Looks pretty official. I even threw a laminate on top of this to help protect against scratches and sun fading. So let's go throw it on the silencer and see how she looks on there. Oh, Eargasm 9000. Well, let's throw the pipe on, see how it looks on the bike, and maybe I'll slip that silencer on too. Can't wait to fire this thing up and see how the old Eargasm 9000 sounds. So I mostly wanted to print these stickers for myself, just to do something different on the silencer. All you normally see is like your FMF sticker or your Pro Circuit sticker and whatnot. But I like doing something outside the box, and if you guys want to pick some up, I actually printed some extras for you guys, so those will be on the website too. Let's roll this baby outside and get some nice shots of it in sunlight. Now that I'm seeing this exhaust outside in the sunlight, holy crap, I am in love with it. The colors really pop, but yeah, it is crazy to see what this pipe looked like before and how it is now. It does take some time though. I would say I've 5 to 7 hours, somewhere around there, into this pipe and silencer. Really liking the end cap on the silencer. I don't know if those colors pick up on the camera or not. Oh, just looks wicked. The purple on the tip is just insane there. And that sticker is a nice little addition as well. I'm already excited to take on the next pipe job. I have a lot to improve on as far as the coloring and the dents as well. I learned a lot popping these dents out, and I feel like I could have gotten these a little bit better with some different techniques. But that's just the name of the game. You make some mistakes, you learn and improve. While I was at it, figured I'd print out a new sticker design. Nick just did these up in Illustrator. All right, here we are at the lamination station. We're gonna throw a little laminate over these stickers just to protect them from sunlight and scratches. I am really digging these ones. Nice, clean, simple design. It's a lot of fun printing these out. If you guys want to snag some, they will be on the website. A little word with these wheels. I'm sure a lot of you guys have used these wheels or at least seen them throughout the videos. Now, if you are wanting to stock up on them or give these a try, I got a deal for you guys. Let's head up to the office and check it out. I've been working on a new office upstairs. Nick and I have been busting this out over the last few months, and it's all finished up. We're moved in, and I was going through some bins, and I found a bunch of shirts that I'm wanting to give away. So, got a deal for you guys. Come on up the stairs. It's a pretty steep set, so don't trip yourself. This is the new headquarters for Prime. But we have a couple deals here. So I found 5 different variations of shirts here. So the first one, built not bought shirt. We've got quite a few sizes in that. CR shirt with the CR on the back. I think there's a couple sizes of that. Make 2 strokes great again. Probably one of my favorite shirts. I think only smalls, I believe. Just the simple red Prime shirt, and 2 stoked. So what I'm doing is I've got these shirts up on the store for free with any order over $40, and what I'm going to be doing is a deal of the month. So I have a bunch of apparel, a bunch of abrasive wheels, screwdrivers, tools, whatever, things that I'm going to be either phasing out of Prime or just kind of getting rid of for deals for you. And so I'm going to be doing a deal of the month every single month. And so October's deal of the month is these 5 shirts. Now, let me show you on the computer here how to grab one of these. You just head over to the store, primemx.com. So this is like the home page here. At the top, you're going to see deal of the month. Click on that. You'll see the 5 shirts here. And so what you're going to want to do is go throughout the store, maybe stock up on those cleaning wheels that we're using, or perhaps the polishing wheels that we used throughout this video as well. Add those to your cart, make sure it's over 40 bucks. And grab one of these shirts, add that to the cart as well. Now I'm just limiting it to 1 free shirt per order. Well guys, that is going to wrap up today's project. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and hopefully this video gave you guys some confidence in tackling your own exhaust restoration projects. Don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Like, I screwed up quite a bit throughout this video, had to redo a lot of things. I don't know it all, just like everyone else out there. We're all just trying to figure this out. So don't be afraid to get out in the shop and sometimes learn the hard way. That's how I learn. I just screw things up enough to where eventually I just figure it out. If you do decide to pop out your dents or do some of the heat treating or some of the things we did throughout this video, I want you guys to tag me in your pictures or videos here on YouTube or on Instagram. I don't know how it works on YouTube. I think you can tag people, but I want to see those projects. If you saw something throughout the video that you want to pick up, I will have everything, all the products linked down below in the description. The abrasives, polishing wheels, the t-shirt giveaway, I'll have that link down there as well. Man, I am having so much fun working in the shop again. I think I've said that probably 10 times, but it is so good to be back. Thank you guys for supporting me throughout all of the past probably 5 years that have been just crazy for me. Hopefully everything smooths out from here, but I will see you guys in the next video. I've got some good stuff on the way, so stay tuned.